My name is Jenna, and I'm 28 years old. I work full-time as a customer service manager, and for the past 3 years, I've been married to a man named Ryan. We live in a quiet neighborhood in Willowdale, and for the most part, I've tried to keep our little family running smoothly. Ryan has a younger sister named Sasha. She's 21 in college and has been living with us since she started school. At first, I didn't mind. I believed in helping family. But what no one knew, not even Ryan, was that I was secretly paying Sasha's college tuition. Every semester, I sent the money directly to the university. Sasha told me not to mention it to Ryan because it would make her feel weak, and I respected that. I didn't come from money. I worked hard, saved every penny, and sacrificed things for myself just to make sure Sasha had a chance to finish her education. I even skipped buying a new winter coat last year so I could cover one of her textbooks. I never expected a thank you, just a little peace in the house. But lately things had changed. Sasha had become colder, more distant. She started treating me like a stranger, even though I was the one making sure she had a future. Ryan didn't notice. He was busy with work and trusted both of us completely. And then, out of nowhere, everything fell apart. Over $15,000. It was a rainy Thursday evening when I came home and found Ryan sitting on the edge of the couch, holding his phone and staring at me like I was a stranger. His face was pale, his jaw tight. I paused in the doorway, confused by the tension in the room. "Is everything okay?" I asked, setting down my bag. He didn't answer right away. Then he said it, words that hit me like a slap in the face. "Jenna, did you take the money?" I blinked. "What money?" $15,000, he said slowly. "From our savings. It's gone." Sasha saw a withdrawal notice on the app, and the account shows it was transferred using your login. I stared at him, completely shocked. I hadn't touched that account. I had no reason to. That money was meant for a down payment on a car we'd been saving for. "I didn't take anything," I said firmly. "I swear." But he didn't believe me. Not even for a second. "I want you to tell me the truth before this gets worse," he said coldly. That's when Sasha walked in. Her hair was wet from the rain, but she wore that same smug look I'd started noticing the past few weeks. She stood beside Ryan, arms folded, acting like a victim. "She's lying," Sasha said, eyes burning with fake tears. "I saw her on the computer last night." She looked panicked and quickly closed the screen. I was speechless. The whole thing was a setup. "I didn't take the money," I said again, my voice shaking. "And I don't know what Sasha saw, but I didn't do anything wrong." Ryan looked between us. But instead of standing by me, he stood up, grabbed his keys, and said the words that crushed me completely. "I think you should leave." I couldn't believe it. After everything I'd done for Sasha, after all the sacrifices, after keeping her college payments a secret, Ryan was choosing to believe her over me. I stood there frozen, trying to process his words. "You want me to leave?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Ryan didn't look at me. He just nodded. "It's better for now. Until we figure this out." There was nothing to figure out. I was being blamed for something I didn't do, thrown out of my own home, like I was worthless. I wanted to scream, to cry, to demand the truth, but I didn't. Something in me shut off right then. I knew begging wouldn't change anything. Not when the man I loved was standing beside a liar. I quietly went to the bedroom, packed a small bag, and walked out of the house. No one stopped me. Not even Ryan. Not even Sasha. But before I left, I sat in my car and opened my laptop. One last thing. I logged into the college's online payment portal, the same place I'd sent thousands of dollars over the past 2 years, and canceled Sasha's upcoming tuition payment. She had no idea I was the one covering her fees. Her payments always went through an anonymous family donor at her request. Well, not anymore. Then I did something I should have done months ago. I logged into my email and forwarded all the college receipts and payment confirmations to myself, just in case I ever needed proof. Something told me this wasn't over. That night, I stayed with my old friend Bella. She welcomed me with open arms and didn't even ask questions at first. When I finally broke down and told her everything about the money, the false accusation, the secret payments. She stared at me for a long time. Then she said, "Jenna, this isn't the end. This is just the beginning." And she was right. The next morning, I woke up on Bella's couch with swollen eyes and a heavy heart. But I also felt something else, clarity. The betrayal still stung, but for the first time in a long while, I wasn't surrounded by lies. Bella brought me coffee and sat next to me, calm and steady. "You said Sasha framed you, right?" she asked. I nodded. She said she saw me make the transfer, but I didn't. I haven't even touched that account in weeks. Bella's eyes narrowed in thought. "Which bank do you and Ryan use?" I told her. That's when she smiled, a very specific kind of smile.
"You're in luck," she said.
"My cousin works in fraud prevention for that same bank. I'll ask him if there's any chance we can review the account access logs." My eyes widened. "You think that's possible?" "If the money was transferred online, there's a digital footprint. IP address, device ID, timestamps, everything. If you didn't do it, we'll find out who did." I held my breath. This was the first time someone truly believed me and was ready to fight beside me. Later that day, Bella's cousin, Leo, confirmed what we suspected. He couldn't give us official records due to policy, but he gave us something better, a friendly heads-up. The withdrawal was made from a different IP address, he said over speakerphone. Not Jenna's usual one. The transfer request came from a tablet, one that's registered to a different user. My heart pounded. Ryan and I only shared 2 devices, his phone and our shared laptop. But Sasha had a tablet. "She used her tablet to make the transfer," Bella said, connecting the dots. "Then blamed you for it." I felt numb with anger. Sasha didn't just lie, she plotted. She stole, framed me, and turned Ryan against me.
But now?
Now I had something more powerful than rage. I had the truth. A few days later, Ryan's family planned a small Sunday lunch at their parents' house. Sasha was going to be there. So was Ryan. I wasn't invited, of course, but that didn't matter. I was going anyway. Bella came with me for support. I wore a calm expression, but inside, I was on fire. This wasn't just about proving my innocence. It was about holding Sasha accountable for everything she'd done behind closed doors. As we walked into the dining room, all eyes turned to us. Ryan stood up from his seat, clearly surprised. Sasha's face froze mid-smile. She hadn't expected to see me again so soon, especially not looking this confident. "What are you doing here?" Ryan asked, clearly annoyed. "I came to return something," I replied, reaching into my bag. "The truth." I placed a folder on the table. Inside were printed screenshots of all my tuition payments to Sasha's college, every semester, every book, every extra fee. I also included a copy of the IP report Bella's cousin had emailed me, showing that the transaction that drained the $15,000 had come from Sasha's tablet. "You want proof I didn't take the money?" I said calmly, my voice steady. "Here it is." Sasha stood frozen, her mouth slightly open. "And one more thing," I added, looking right at her. "You might want to check your school email. Your tuition payment bounced, because the person paying it was me." Her face turned white. Ryan picked up the papers, flipping through them with shaking hands. His face drained of color with every page. Their mother leaned over his shoulder, reading silently. The whole room was dead quiet. Then it happened. Sasha snapped. "I only did it because I was tired of being invisible," she yelled, her voice cracking. Everything was always about Jenna. Jenna, the perfect wife. Jenna, the responsible one. Jenna, who paid for everything. Ryan stared at her like he didn't even recognize his own sister. "You stole from me."
"And you lied about it."
"You let me kick my wife out for your crime?" "I didn't think she'd actually leave," Sasha said weakly. "I just wanted her to back off." But it was too late. The truth was out, and no one was on her side now. The room stayed silent for a long moment after Sasha's confession. Ryan's parents looked stunned. His father shook his head in disbelief, while his mother stared at Sasha with disappointment written all over her face. And Ryan, he looked shattered. I watched him closely, wondering if he finally understood the weight of what he'd done, how easily he had tossed me aside without a second thought, just because his sister pointed a finger.
He turned to me, slowly.
Jenna, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I was wrong. I should have trusted you. His voice cracked. For a second, I saw the man I married, the one I believed in, the one I stood by through thick and thin. But I didn't say anything, because there was nothing left to say. I lost everything because I trusted the wrong person, I said softly. And I lost more than just money or a place to stay. I lost faith in you. Ryan stepped forward.
Please, come home.
We can fix this. I shook my head.
No, Ryan.
You didn't just doubt me. You threw me out without proof. You believed a liar over your own wife. That's not something I can forget. Or forgive. Sasha stood quietly now, her face pale and defeated. Even her parents didn't rush to defend her. The shame on her face said it all. She didn't win. I turned to leave, but paused at the door. I hope one day you understand what real loyalty looks like. Because the next woman in your life might not be as patient as I was. Then Bella and I walked out together, heads high. And this time, I didn't look back. A week passed. Then two. I kept my distance, changed my number, and focused on healing. I blocked Ryan and Sasha from every platform. I needed space to breathe and think, without the weight of betrayal hanging over me. But karma? Karma doesn't take breaks. It started with a message from a contact at the university. Sasha's tuition had officially defaulted, and she'd been suspended for non-payment. She tried to fight it, even claimed her payments were messed up by someone else, but it didn't matter. The university had records. The last 3 semesters were all paid through my account. Then came the real sting. Sasha lost her academic scholarship. Without that and my payments, she couldn't re-enroll unless she paid everything up front. But that wasn't even the worst part. She had borrowed money from a few friends to keep up appearances, new clothes, a spring break trip she booked under the impression that I would cover things like always. When they found out she'd been lying, using them the same way she used me, they exposed her on social media. Screenshots. Stories. Tagging everyone in her life. It went viral, locally at least. Ryan's company didn't like the bad press. Turns out, he'd listed Sasha as his dependent on some employee scholarship paperwork, and when HR looked into it, they saw the scandal too. That alone didn't cost him his job, but the negative attention and family drama did. He was asked to take some time off. Maybe permanently.
And me?
I was doing just fine. I started a blog to talk about financial independence, betrayal, and emotional recovery. I shared my story under a pseudonym. Within weeks, it blew up. People connected with it. Women from all over wrote to say they'd experienced similar betrayals, by sisters-in-law, by husbands, by family who should have protected them. And best of all, a small publisher offered me a book deal. Turns out, telling the truth does pay off. 3 months after I walked out of that house, I moved into a new apartment in the city. It was small but bright, with sunlit windows and a little balcony where I drank coffee every morning. It wasn't just a new home. It was a new chapter. My blog had grown faster than I ever imagined. I wrote daily entries about healing, self-worth, and financial wisdom. I didn't use real names, but the story of the sister-in-law who stole $15,000 and framed me became a symbol for so many people trapped in toxic homes. I received messages from women saying things like, "You gave me the courage to walk away. I finally canceled her tuition too. Thank you." That kind of impact? It healed me more than any apology ever could. One morning, I received a package at my door, no sender name, just my address. I hesitated, opened it, and found 2 things. 1. A handwritten note. 2. A refund check for $15,000. The note was in Ryan's handwriting. It read, "Jenna, I don't expect forgiveness. I've lost the right to ask for anything. But I know I owe you. Not just money but trust. You never deserved what happened. This is the least I can do. Ryan." I sat with that note in my hands for a while. I didn't cry. I didn't feel angry. I just felt free. Like I had finally closed the last door to my past. I deposited the check into a fund I had recently created, a women's emergency education grant designed to help women who were kicked out, cut off, or sabotaged by their families. It wasn't just about Sasha anymore. This was bigger. Later that week, I gave a speech at a small business conference. I stood in front of a crowd, telling them how betrayal had led me to rebuild my life, how losing everything gave me the chance to find my purpose. And when I stepped off the stage, a woman from the crowd walked up to me, tears in her eyes. "I was in your exact position last year," she said. "Your story helped me leave. Thank you." I smiled, and for the first time in a long time it felt real. Because I didn't just survive betrayal. I turned it into power. It's been 1 full year since that day, the day I walked out with nothing but my dignity and the truth. Since then, my life has changed in ways I never expected. My blog was picked up by a national women's network. I now speak at events, lead webinars on emotional recovery and financial independence, and recently finished writing my first book, Walked Out, Leveled Up. It comes out this fall. I live in peace. I wake up without fear, without shame. My apartment is still modest, but it's filled with things that matter. Quiet mornings, fresh flowers, laughter, and freedom. As for Ryan, he never reached out again after the refund check. I later heard from a mutual acquaintance that he tried to repair things with Sasha, but the damage was done. Their parents refused to fund her anymore. She dropped out of college and moved back to their hometown. No career, no degree, and barely any friends left after the scandal. Last I heard, Sasha had started working part-time at a local cafe. Maybe life is finally teaching her the lessons she skipped in school: accountability, humility, and consequences. And strangely, I don't feel hate anymore. Not toward her, not even toward Ryan. Because I won. Not by getting revenge, but by taking my life back, step by step, and becoming someone I'm proud of. One morning, I stood on my balcony, holding a warm cup of coffee and looking out at the city. The sun was rising, golden light touching every rooftop. And I whispered to myself the words that started this entire journey. "You have no idea what I was doing for you behind the scenes. But now, you'll see what I can do for myself."